All right, welcome everyone. My name is Charles Thompson. I'm one of the field leaders here at Power. I want to welcome all of you new ambassadors. There's a number of people who are here today, and there's those who will be just listening to a recorded version of what we have. So congrats, you're listening to this. That means you've enrolled. And the next step for you really is to start leveraging the Power platform to enter that referral. It's really simple. You log in and you go enter the customer's information. If there's any questions, the consultant who is assigned to work with you is always available directly through the platform, and we encourage that. Obviously, we don't want you to have to worry about selling anything. Objective is just to refer, and then you can track your projects. You can see stage by stage where that customer is leading up to your actual reward, if you will, that you receive for helping refer people to leverage the platform. From here, I want to talk a little bit about who we are. You might not have heard the story behind Power, and Power has been in business now about 6 years, founded by Jonathan Budd from San Diego, California. And he really had just a shift in his thought process about the direction of humanity, and Power was seen as a way to really change the industry, not only the industry, but for mankind. He formed the Public Benefit Corporation out of San Diego. It is designed to be formed more for not personal gain, but for the public benefit, right? Not to distribute profits. Not that we aren't a profitable company, we want to be profitable, but it's about the greater good of what we do. And one example of that is we're the first of the kind in this industry to be 100% carbon neutral. So that's important to you in terms of being able to offset emissions. That's what Power's mission and vision is. We 100% from the manufacturing, from the installation, from the rolling of the trucks, to every employee in the company, we 100% offset our carbon emissions. We've got an amazing opportunity for homeowners in the sense that not only are we a strong company financially backed, we do all the public benefit things we do, but the out-of-the-box warranty for our homeowners is a 25-year output guarantee on the panels, a 12 to 25-year inverter guarantee, a 10-year workmanship warranty, and a 5-year roof penetration warranty. This is our standard offering to each and every homeowner, and generally that's more than adequate. But when you have a homeowner who wants that significant peace of mind, Power also has an optional upgrade to a 30-year end-to-end system coverage. That's all affected panels, inverters, roof, etc. Everything is covered, and that's backed by a $10 billion insurance company, and there's a slight additional cost for that. Oftentimes, investors want to know, where can we refer people? And your consultant will be able to share with you a current coverage map. We have a lot of focus on California, Texas, and Florida market, but you can see every blue market here. We are open for business, and more markets will come as we grow as a company. Now, the question is, how do you leverage that platform? And we really made this super simple. The platform is designed really for you. Let me see if I can get my screen to advance. There we go. And you just engage with a simple two-step process. And what does that mean? It just means that, slide is funky here. Step one is to just create a list. And that is something you can have through the assets that your consultant will share with you, is a memory jogger. What we want you to do is look at this from, look, if you just want to refer your personal friends and family and help them and make a few extra $1,000 in the process, great. But if you want to turn this into something that you can do more consistently and regularly, we always recommend that you create a list, because a list is really the foundation of any successful campaign, particularly referral campaign. And in that contact list, you really never know who's going to want to know what you're offering, who's going to want to hear that. So list everyone you know, and don't prejudge, don't screen them, and don't filter that initial list. Just make a long list of as many people as you can. Go on your social media sites, you're going to find a lot of people who may not be true friends, but I'll talk you through how to kind of filter that down. Once you've got the list established, you have a master list of hundreds and hundreds of people, now you start to filter that. Filter it down to your warmest and hot contacts first, those who you want to immediately share this with. Your message is going to be a little different for those folks, perhaps, than the cold list, if you will. And just keep narrowing it down. Narrow it down to your warm contacts. Narrow it down to your lukewarm contact. Narrow it down to your cold contacts. And the only reason you want to do that is your messaging is going to be slightly different for each of those, because the personal relationship you have is different. And then after you've done that, begin to share solar. and really understand our mission and vision. It's to accelerate the adoption of clean energy on a worldwide basis. We're currently in 20 states, but we're impacting the world, and to panel 2 million homes by 2025. That's a lofty goal, but we're well on our way to do that. There's a number of reasons that people do go solar, and most of them are economic and environmental. The economic benefits are going to vary by market because some energy costs are lower. Than California, for example, it's triple what it is in Florida and Texas. So the economic benefits are going to be a little better in California than they are in Texas and Florida or some of the other markets. But the other change is the environmental side. Those benefits are going to be the same no matter where the homeowner is. And that's in line with our mission vision, which is to reduce the pollution, reduce our carbon offset, and the environmental benefits are absolutely the same. So we use a two-step process. This is a non-high pressure closing process. We really focus on education, educating people on the benefits of solar, and it begins with you. And that first meeting is really where you set the stage and collect what you'll need to be successful. Work with your consultant on what they want you to do. But I walk you through the basics of what we do. And then the second meeting, which you do not have to be engaged in, is where the client that you have referred to us meets with the consultant. And with that, there's 5 stages that lead will go through. The first is when you first submit the lead into the platform. The second is where the lead is then accepted by the consultant, and the consultant is responsible for that point forward. But the process then goes to the third stage is the consultant actually presents the savings report to the homeowner, and they do that sometimes virtually, sometimes in person. It depends on what the client wants. After that, the fourth stage is when we go to contract. That's when it starts to really get the process. And you'll see that bar going. The fifth stage is after installation. That's when that commission milestone, that referral fee triggered for you after installation. And generally, that's going to be anywhere from 7 to 14 days after the homeowner has signed off on what we call substantial completion, just so you know. There's a 5-step process that you go through. And initially, again, you may just want to refer this to a couple of people, and some of this content that I'm going to share with you doesn't matter. If you want to share this with more people and you want to really turn this into some real good part-time, full-time income, then use this 5-step process. Create a conversation, introduce what you're doing with power, introduce what I call halo. I'll talk about that. Ask a closing question. You're not selling. A closing question in this case is ask for the bill. And then once you get that bill, you submit it to the consultant and you pass that baton. That's really all you have to do. It's not an extensive amount of workload. And it starts with having a conversation. I always recommend something called CPR, and that is you continue or create a personal relationship. So back to that warmest list and warm list, you already have a personal relationship with them, so continue that relationship. If you don't have a personal relationship, create a personal relationship and focus on what we call the Ford concept: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Obviously, if you don't know someone, they're cold contact, you're not going to really want to talk about their dreams, right? Unless you're in this COVID period when you say, are you looking forward to getting back out and having dinner someplace, or whatever the case may be. But it's really simple. How's the family? If it's someone you know, you can say, how's John, or how's Mary? Someone who's more of a cold contact, how's your family holding up during these unprecedented times? Just that type of conversation. What are you doing for work these days? Or have you been furloughed? How's your golf game? How's this? How's that? It's all about tying in, building rapport, and helping them see that this, your goal is not to sell them anything. You want to know a little bit more about how their life is going. Then you have a conversation. And one of the greatest starter questions is, have you actually noticed your electricity bill is going up over the past few years? And unless someone's on auto debit and paying no attention, they are going to say yes. And then you say, yeah, well, me too. And the reason I asked, I don't know if you are aware, but I recently became an ambassador with Power. And now I'm certified with Power to help homeowners evaluate if solar is the right thing for their home and whether it can save them tens of thousands of dollars. So if solar didn't cost you anything up front, nothing at all, and could save you tens of thousands of dollars, would you be interested in hearing more? Let them answer. All right? Super simple. And with that, then you say, look, all I want to do is have a conversation with you. I'm going to talk with you why I became an ambassador, so tell them why you did this with Power. I want to learn a little bit about what questions you have, maybe hear your ideas about solar, and I'll explain some of the common misconceptions. Then I'll gather a couple bits of information and see if you're a good candidate for solar. No pressure. That's all my job is. And Then I'll introduce you to my power energy consultant, and we'll get you a free proposal. He or she will state their name. Melissa will be contacting you and going over setting up a time for you to be able to have a time to review the savings report. And then get in a dialogue. Keep this building rapport. What are your thoughts about solar? Have you ever looked into solar before? If you did, why haven't you gone solar? If you haven't, why haven't you looked into solar? And those are important notes to share with your consultant. I always say set yourself up for success. The more you can share with the consultant, you don't have an obligation to do that, but the more that you can, the better experience it's going to be. Some analogies I like to use. So, right now, the great analogy is, hey, what are you paying for gas these days? Right? We're lower, I think, than I remember seeing when I was in high school. So if you could lock that price for gas in now, you think it's going to go up or you think it's going to stay low? Because it's all supply and demand, right? You think it's going to go up, you think it's going to stay low. Of course it's going to go up. So if you could lock that price of gas in where it is now, would you do that for the rest of your life? Would you never worry about that? Who's going to say no to that, right? Now, a couple of months from now, when the prices are back up high, if you look back in time, hey, if you could have locked those prices in during the whole COVID crisis, would you have done that? Of course I would have. Well, do you happen to know what you pay for a kilowatt hour of electricity? And most people have no idea. So a gallon is a measurement of fluid, gasoline in this case. A kilowatt hour is a measurement of energy. And that's how they're billed on their energy bill. So if they don't know, that's a great time to say, well, let's get a copy of your electric bill. And then I'll have Melissa, I'm using Melissa in this case, explain how you are charged for electricity, because they charge you based upon kilowatt hours. So go ahead and grab me a copy of your bill. I'll load this into the platform, and I'll make sure that I have Melissa reach out to you. What do we look for in the bill? For your information. You don't have to share this with the homeowner. So we're not looking for just an image of the graph. We're not looking just for a snapshot of the bill. We're looking for the entire bill, because we look at three things when we talk to homeowners. We look at how much energy they use, because that's going to tell us the size of the system that they need. Every home's different, right? You could have two homes side by side, and one is using significantly more energy than the home on the other side. So we have to look at that personal usage over a period of time. That tells us the size. It also tells us the cost. So if somebody says, how much is this going to cost? I have no idea, but I can tell you how we can get there. Give me a copy of your electric bill. And that starts the process. So we look at how much you use, and then we look at how much you actually pay for a kilowatt hour, because that's going to tell us the economic proposition. That's going to let us know whether this is something that's even viable for you. So when I'm getting into these conversations with a homeowner, I say, look, there's 130 million single-family residences in the U.S. As an ambassador, I want to help as many of them I can, but only 90 million are eligible. So if you're one of the 40 million who aren't eligible, I don't want to waste your time. And a real quick way to do that is to look at your electric bill. That electric bill will tell us the two most important things: how much you use, how much you pay. And then the third thing that Melissa's going to do is she's going to look at your roof, she's going to look at your home, she's going to determine if it's eligible. If you're not eligible, we're not going to waste your time. Sound fair? Great. Then if you want to give another example, hypothetics, now that you know what you pay for a kilowatt hour, at least you know how it works, how about you lock that in? How about you could lock in the cost of that energy for the rest of your life? Every kilowatt hour that's produced by that system never goes up in cost. How about that? Would you opt in for that if it cost you nothing out of pocket? Would you do that? Of course they would. Well, let's get started. It's really that simple, folks. Let's get started. Put it into the system. If you haven't got the bill yet, so this is where you kind of go back to, you want to get